Good evening, everyone. Happy
Hello.
Happy Tarot Thursday. It's
And
us.
yes,
So
we're
Mary
Rev
Ham,
Mary Hawk, and oh no, we're not.
Mary Hawk and her friends. Hi.
Yes.
So yeah, Rev Don and I are here tonight to do the usual Tarot Thursday things. Um, we would love for you to put your questions in the chat. You can ask us for readings. You can ask us about random tarot bits, and we'll be here for about an hour, or so yeah. And happy Yule, happy Litha to our friends on the southern hemisphere.
Yes, indeed.
We don't get to do this very often, you and I, so this is actually kind of fun.
That's true. That's very true.
I do enjoy watching you and Mary, however, when I'm not available. So I do make it a point to pop in when I can. I saw a prompt today from one of the tarot people that I follow, and they're like, "What was your first deck you bought in 2023? What will be the last deck you buy in 2023?" And I'm like, "I don't know yet. I haven't opened my presents. I don't know that answer." All right. Hi, Renee. So Renee asked, "Can I get a reading about how Christmas will turn out this year?" And we will most
Absolutely.
certainly do that. And I will let you go first.
Okay. So, as I was shuffling, the Princess of Wands fell out of the deck. When they fall out that way, it means they want to be read. And then I've drawn the King of Wands, the Nine of Lamps, and Death. So the Princess of Wands says that there are a number of things that are kind of coming into being, but they're not quite in place yet. So I would think that Christmas this year for Renee will probably have a number of things coming for the future, maybe being looked for, but not quite there just yet. So it's like it's almost ready, but not quite. The King of Wands is passion, energy. So I would say it would be a good time. Nine of Lamps is personal competence, personal ability. And then the Death card is change. So I would say that although that change is not quite ready to take place as we began with, that it's coming quickly. So I think that you'll find yourself right on the edge of a number of changes coming into your life. And I'll draw a card. I've drawn the Queen of Lamps, which is personal magic. So I would say they'd be very empowering changes, but they're in the process of coming to pass, and that's how I think Christmas will turn out for you. It looks perfectly positive, but a lot in anticipation.
So the first card I have, Renee, for you is the Four of Swords. Obviously, this is a slow time between Christmas and New Year's. A lot of rest, relaxation, reflection, inwardness. So I would lean into that whenever at all possible within the next couple, week or so, and really, think about what you want and what you're manifesting for the new year and during this holiday season. The second card I have is the Three of Pentacles, which is about teamwork and collaboration. So a lot of what you're manifesting and what you're thinking about and reflecting on is not about you alone. It's about with others, whether it's your family, your friends. Um, pardon me. What you're thinking about working and manifesting together as a group. And then I pulled the Emperor. Now I'm going to read that as, as we are in the season of the God and his changeover, that really diving deep into that divine masculine energy right now when you're doing all of this manifesting and all of this collaboration is really leaning into the masculine archetypes when you can is what's going to be extremely helpful right now. And I hope that's helpful.
And hello to Anna Storm in the chat room.
Hello.
And bright blessings to you.
Thank you so much. I have a tradition every Yule, usually because I commute on the subway into work, where I listen to "Here Comes the Sun" by the Beatles. It's my favorite untraditional Yule song.
There we go.
So when people ask me, "Oh, what's your favorite Yule song?" I say that, and they're like, "Huh?" So. Does anyone else have a question for us?
Thank you, Renee. Renee says the reading was spot on and that the reading was good. Thank you, Renee.
Thank you.
So you were mentioning the Emperor card. And the Emperor card is one of those cards that is very differently read by different people.
Mm-hmm.
In the modern era, traditionally it was a little bit less variable, but it's one of those cards that the belief systems and or attitudes of the person designing the deck have a lot to do with how they choose to interpret that card. For me, it is very much a God card and a card of cycles and changes, which is not the normal, not the reading you get from most people for that card, but it's how I take it.
I mean, I learned the way I read all the cards is very situational. There are times when the Emperor needs to be that like toxic masculine authority energy, but there are some times where that's not necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the vibe I got with with Renee is that was not the message.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite books by Cassandra Snow about queering the tarot takes that approach to the Emperor of people are scared by it, and here's how you undo the scariness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Alice Storm. I oftentimes don't get to get feedback about readings I give on Thursdays, and I very much appreciate that. So their question is, what have I turned into? Safe question.
I'm not entirely sure how to approach that question.
Not quite sure.
I guess we could just approach it straightforward and assume that it means what it says.
I usually when someone asks me, yeah, okay, I'm gonna take it just as it was asked. And I believe I go first this time.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, the first card I pulled is the Hermit, which makes me think that you are using your time wisely to turn inward and reflect and do go through some of your harder panels, your harder tunnels in order to see the light at the end of the tunnel. You are working your way out of the darkness and into the light. And oh, look, an homage to our friend Mary, the Queen of Swords. And you're doing so with grace and with intelligence over beauty, right? Getting out of the tunnel is not going to be a pretty thing. It's going to be muddy. It's going to be murky. It's going to be ugly. But I would say when you talked about, you mentioned ascension for me. Yes. So judgment has come up, which is part of ascension, right? So doing your shadow work and realizing that it's going to be an ugly process and not allowing judgment on yourself is what is going to be most helpful to you of what the person you're turning into is doing the work and realizing that you've been through things and that's okay, but moving forward and not looking back.
So as I was shuffling, the moon fell out of the deck. And to me, the moon is enlightenment through spirituality, enlightenment through magic, through personal development. And I would say that really is the process you're going through. The cards I drew, we have the Eight of Cups, the Queen of Coins, and the Nine of Wands. And, you know, on the subject of shadow work, that's kind of what this looks like to me. The Nine of Wands says that you're in the process. You're certainly not through the process, you're in it. And it's going to take a while to get through it. The Eight of Cups says, yeah, it might be kind of scary. Doesn't really need to be necessarily. You can see in the picture, the little man is frightened of the phantoms around him. But in the end, they are only phantoms. So you don't want to let that get the best of you. But, you know, shadow work does make you look at things you might not otherwise wish to see, but which are important to be seen. So don't let it, do the work that needs to be done. Don't let it overwhelm you. And the Queen of Coins is prosperity and stability. So I think that you will have a good, stable situation for this process. But you are definitely in the process, and coming out of it, you have temperance, and temperance is new beginnings, new things created out of old things. It's saying you're going to take all the parts of yourself, put them back together in a new and different way, and go forward. And there you go. Now, what are you turning into? Something new.
I love how sometimes weird questions have a way of sorting themselves out in the cards.
Well, you know, that is true. And, you know, well, for many years, I did Reverend Don's vlog, for 10 years, actually. And some of the questions I got, what I did in Reverend Don's vlog is I answered people's questions, and people asked some unusual questions, especially after Fove. He was one of our favorite questioners, and always asked really unexpected questions that often seemed like they were jokes. And maybe they even were, but they had serious answers. I remember once after Fove asked, it was around the time that Kenny Rogers died, and he asked if it was really true that sometimes it's time to hold them, sometimes it's time to fold them, and so forth. And yeah, we got a very good answer out of that question, even though it seemed like just a play on words. And Catherine is interested in a reading. Hello, Catherine. I hope you're having a lovely night.
Hello, Catherine. It's interesting. You were doing your vlog around the time Herman Slater had his public television show in the 80s, and I have found some of those old clips, and he got asked some very random things as well. It was like only on public television.
You know, one of the best compliments I ever received was that I answered everyone's question, regardless of how it sounded on the surface, and got decent answers. And I was very proud of that, because, you know, there were a lot of questions that a lot of people would have just dismissed, because the person obviously didn't have a lot of background, or maybe they weren't asking it well. but there were always good answers.
Yeah, Catherine, it's great for Don and I to be sharing space. We don't get to do this very often, so this is
That's
fun.
true.
And it is your go.
Okay. Okay, so no escapee cards. First card is Death, followed by the Ten of Lamps, followed by the Ace of Lamps, all very spiritual cards. So I would say that for Catherine, this is going to be a very spiritual time with a lot of focus on spirituality and spiritual understanding of things. The Death card has changed, so I would say that as you come into the new year, there's probably going to be a good amount of change around you. The Ten of Lamps is personal enlightenment, personal understanding, personal mastery of skill. And I think that those changes, you'll handle them very well. And you'll find that you have everything that you need to do that handling. You'll find that even though some of it may be a little challenging, it's easily done. And finally, we have the Ace of Lamps, which is spiritual guidance and the spiritual self. And Catherine says, oh, that's nice. I think that's related to career. It may very well be. And if so, you're well equipped to handle those changes. But you'll find that your main reaction to it is going to be spiritual, which is fine. That's good. And because I can't help myself, I'll draw one more for you. And I've drawn past. And the past is to look at your past and learn from it without being overwhelmed by it. Look at the things you've learned, look at the ways that you've grown, and carry those forward while letting go of what you don't need. And so I think that you will find that this will bring a certain amount of self-reflection, and I think it should be very, very, very positive in general.
So, Catherine, I have the Ten of Cups for you, which is happy family card. So, I mean, we are in the Yule time, a time of family and togetherness and community. So, enjoy that time, whatever it means for you, however you enjoy it. Do that. Make sure you take some time for yourself, however. People get very caught up in all the hustle and bustle and family time. Make sure you take time for you to meditate, connect to your feminine energy. And also the third card I have is the Hierophant, which is about traditions, right? So maybe you're thinking of starting some new traditions this next couple days. Whatever you've been thinking about that you want to start something new, do it. I'm definitely saying you should enjoy, and whatever it is you've been thinking that you want to do, go for it. This is the season to do that. And who knows? It might take off and really go somewhere. So I hope both of those were helpful.
And we want to say hello to Loopy After Dark and Amber.
Hello, Loopy.
Both of them would like general readings.
Awesome.
Yay. Catherine says, yes, that's true. A new role at work. Thank you. Wonderful. So shall we start with Amber? Since
yes.
She mentioned first?
Yes. All right. And I believe it is my go first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Elvis has decided she wants to touch the cards.
Okay.
She does that. All right. So the first card, Amber, is the Eight of Wands, which is about swiftness and action, fast action. So something that you've been working on. There are going to be developments quickly, and they're going to happen fast. However,
Yes, your head had a tail for a moment.
yes, yeah, I figured that. The Queen of Cups, which is about nurturing yourself. So make sure whatever is happening that it's going to be happening quickly, but I would suggest that you don't make any quick judgments, right? Just because someone wants an answer and they want it now does not mean you have to give it to them. And I also pulled the King of Pentacles, which is whatever is coming up or whatever decisions you're having to make that are being needing to be answered quickly will deeply impact your legacy, your financial self. So that is all to say, regardless of what people are asking and how quick they want an answer, you have every ability to say, I need time to think about it. And I suggest you do.
So I have drawn the Fool, the Queen of Coins, who makes another appearance, the Five of Swords, and the Seven of Wands. So the Fool, sorry, too many wires. The Fool is the chaos moment, the moment when all things are possible. So I would say that as you come to the end of this year, you really can decide to go in whatever direction you want to go. All paths are open if you can make the decision. You need to have trust in yourself and trust in your desires. And, you can choose the safe thing or you can choose the thing you really want. And I always say choose the thing you really want. With that is the Queen of Pentacles, which is stability and prosperity and being in a good, solid situation. So I would say that in terms of worldly situations, you should, as you go forward into the new year, be on good, solid ground. The Five of Swords says that nonetheless you have mixed feelings about your situation. There are things that that you definitely would like to change from that chaos moment. And the Seven of Wands say that the best way to do that is to play the longer game. Don't try to change them immediately, but develop your plans for how to change them over time, and you'll be happier with your result. And there you go.
And Loopy is next.
Okay. Am I going first this time?
Yes.
First card is the Ten of Swords, which features a severed head in the middle of the deck, or the middle of the card. And this basically is change. It's letting go of the old to make way for the new, more specifically. And so as you come to the end of this year and move into next year, I think you're going to find that there are a lot of things you're leaving behind to make way for new things, which are coming soon. It's followed by the Six of Coins, which is getting help or assistance from others, or even from the universe. and also the willingness to give assistance. So it's energy moving, help being extended or received. And the Three of Swords, changes in your relationships, changes in things around you. And, while it's happening, it may or may not always seem to be for the best, but it really is. And as things rearrange themselves, you will find yourself with the Four of Wands, which is achievement and success. So through the process of change, you may be a little unsure of whether everything is going well, but it actually is, and go forward with confidence.
So the first card I have is the Nine of Pentacles, which is my favorite card because it's literally treat yourself, indulge in the things that you enjoy. Pardon me, especially this week again with the holidays, like whatever it is that you have put off treating yourself to, it's a great time to do it. You should do that. And then I pulled the World, which, we're coming to the end of the year. And with that is another good reason to see what is coming in the future, see what you have planned for yourself, the things that you've completed, really assessing what goals did you complete this year that you're really proud of, that you should reward yourself for, right? And then the third card I have is the Lovers, which is about choice. So I would say that you seem to have your eye on a lot of shiny objects. Only pick one or two. Since there's two people here, I'll go with two, right? And then because I couldn't help myself and Don's here, I pulled a fourth card, which is death. And I would say, obviously, death is rebirth. It is new. It is changing. And this is a great time to check in with yourself and see what you want to plan for the next season ahead. So yeah, treat yourself for your wins and do it all again next year.
Very cool.
I love it when my cards understand the assignment.
Yes.
Are you a person who subscribes to the whole numerology of the card going into the new year? Like this year, if you add 2024 together, you get 8, which is strength or justice, depending on your system of choice.
I don't necessarily do that, but I am a great believer in numerology.
Okay.
I tend to use the Corellian calendar, which dates a little bit differently. So this would be the year 24. So from a Corellian point of view, it would be a 6 rather than the 8.
Okay.
So they would both be relevant because one is the calendrical year, the other is the liturgical year.
Right.
And so I would say that to take those two together, the internal part of the year is very home-oriented, but the external part is very, very karmic, very make it or break it.
Mm-hmm.
8 is one of those numbers that just doesn't do halfway measures.
Yep, I agree. I'm one of those people who prefers justice in the 8 position, if you ask me, instead of 11. But justice is my card after all. So, but yes, I definitely, I never thought of reading it, of putting the two together, the Corellian calendar and reading and setting my goals that way. That's something to aspire to.
Thank you. I was talking about that on one of my midday broadcasts recently, that I tend to look at things as the resolution of opposites, probably because I'm a Gemini, and I tend to look at the two extremes. Also, one of my first loves was Egypt, and that was very much the Egyptian way of looking at things. And we want to say hello to Johnny, who is a proud
Johnny.
Leo.
Definitely.
Of course, I mean that kind of comes with being a Leo, but but it's good.
I was gonna say proudness, Leo. Go figure. one of my favorite things to do in my line of work is to obviously come out of my broom closet and then watch all of my colleagues walk by and tell me their signs as they walk by. And I'm like, "You're missing two. Come back. I need the rest of it. I need to know what makes you tick."
Certainly, astrology ideally is much more than the sun sign,
Oh yes,
and it can be very complex when all is said and done.
definitely. My favorite thing is for when people tell me their sun sign, and then over the course of getting to know them, I have basically figured out their rising, and I'm like, well, actually, you know that thing about you that you don't understand? That's that. Here's a book. Have fun. One of my
Historically, people often didn't think I fit my sun sign, um, and but if they knew my sun sign, moon sign, and ascendant, that still wouldn't explain it to them,
oh, mine
because what
does.
they tend to pick up on is my Mercury and Venus, which are conjunct in Taurus.
So I think I've shared this with you, and I don't mind sharing. So my sun's in Cancer, my moon is in Gemini, and my ascendant is in Virgo.
Hmm.
Explains a lot about me.
Yes, it does.
So, does anyone else have any questions? Though we do love a good astrology chat. At least I do. And you're writing a book about astrology. I'm so excited.
Yes, that's my next book coming out, Reverend Don's Book of Astrology, which will be about how to interpret a chart for yourself.
Yay.
Yay. Um, and I'm looking for that to be available approximately at the spring equinox.
Awesome. I always look forward to your books.
Thank you.
I have so much reading to get done while I recover. I have planned out for 2024 an entire year of LGBT social justice things that will be featured here on Pagan World TV.
Well, very good.
Did I tell you I made my colleagues cry?
No.
Yes, my little World's AIDS Day sermon. Scary word for me. Yeah, it did exactly what it was meant to do.
Oh, good.
So, all right. Is there anyone else who would like a reading? Oh, Johnny B's moon is in Capricorn. It is Capricorn season for the sun signs, officially.
Yes.
My brother is a Capricorn.
My father was a Capricorn.
Ah. Oh, Johnny said me. Do you have a question, Johnny, or would you just like a general reading? We are mediums, but we're not that good. Well, at least I'm not. I don't speak for Dom. I will say this year has definitely been about trusting myself more, giving my readings in public.
Well, that's good. That's very important.
I will say this, General, great. The scariest thing I did do was live readings in the middle of the floor of Parliament. That was by far the
Yes.
pinnacle of experience. Hi, Michael.
Hi, Michael. Hello, Anissa.
Hello, Anissa. All right. I believe. Oh, I go first this time.
You seem to be muted.
I think I hit the M with my keyboard. So the first card, Johnny, I have is the Tower. Now, not to scare you, when I think of the Tower, I think about you have options when it comes to chaos. You can run into the flaming tower, or you can go find a bucket of water to put out the fire. So chaos is not just about you, it's about your environment. And if the chaoticness is too much for you, you have every right to pull out and to think it through, right? The Ace of Swords is about communication and thought. And it's the beginning of communication and thought. So whatever chaos is ensuing, take a moment and think about it from a very logical, realistic perspective. And think about what is the most logical way to make the chaos stop, right? And then the third card is the Queen of Wands, which again, when I think about the Queen of Wands, I think about a very stereotypical lawyer or attorney, someone who is very passionate, who can argue their way out of something that doesn't seem logical. So whatever this chaos is, think of it very logically and think passionately about how you want to communicate, because the key to that is going to be the communication style. Your communication style, it's what's going to calm everything. And I pull the fourth card, which is the King of Swords, which again is the epitome of communication and intellect. So you need to just trust the process. Like you said, you're selling your house. Selling a house is chaotic, so just think things through logically, and everything will work out as it's meant to.
And the cards I have drawn are Death, the King of Lamps, and the Six of Cups. And Death, we've visited Death earlier this evening. Death is change, and you've mentioned you're selling your house. I would assume that probably is part and parcel of the change. It may be wider changes than that, but as you come into the new year, there's a lot of change coming to you. And what should you do with that change? Well, the King of Lamps is a card of meditation, a card of self-knowledge and self-discovery. So I would say that you should use this occasion to look within yourself, and to cultivate peace in your life, and again, knowledge of self. And finally, we have the Six of Cups. The Six of Cups has to do with past influences. So you may find that these changes bring you more to situations that remind you of your past. Maybe some things that you'd let go of and want to recapture. Maybe it might bring you to a place you've been in the past, or around people you've been in the past, but influences of the past will be important. It may also be simply using the same techniques you've used in the past. So be open to past influences. And we'll add one more. We're adding the Moon, which is spirituality and magic, and growth through these purposes. I think you'll find it a time of a lot of change, and potentially a time of a lot of growth. And there you go.
Michael is asking us for a reading. Do you remember who goes first this time?
I think it's me this time.
Okay, just making sure.
So I have drawn the Ace of Coins, the Prince of Wands, and the Seven of Lamps. The Ace of Coins often is just plain financial circumstances. So you may find, as you're heading into the new year, that you have a lot of focus on money situations, financial situations, or at least things that influence your prosperity. So you'll find yourself, I think, looking very strongly at that. And, I've drawn also the Ace of Cups to go with that, which says to me that you'll be focusing on it, but you'll be happy with it. So it's not a bad thing, but there'll be a lot of focus on those issues. The Prince of Wands is dissipated energy. It's saying you may want to focus a little bit more on the things you're trying to do, and kind of rein in your focus, and not scatter your energy in the things that you're doing, but focus on the things that are most important. And the Seven of Lamps is purification. And it's saying that you may find that you're going to be letting go of things that are muddying your energy during this time. You're going to be really working on, well, actually, working on the Prince of Wands, on focusing. And by doing that, it will take you to the Ten of Cups, which is happiness, happy family, good things. So that's what I get for you. Focus, focus, focus. Money, money, money.
So the first card I have is Temperance, which is taking something old, making something new, which is very in line with the creative side of you that I know, Michael. The second card is the Ace of Pentacles, which is about money and manifestation. So I know you're always up to a new project. I see more of that. And look, Don, we have our first twinning of the night, the Ace of Cups. So your emotions, much like Don, I think your emotions and your money are in the same, they're both aces, so they're in the same place. However, you're happy doing it. It makes you happy. You're making money. So whatever this project is, do it. However, justice, which means there has to be a balance. Just because you're making money and you're happy, make sure you keep both of those things equally the same. If you're making more money than you are happy, that's not good. If you're more happy and you're making less money, also ideally not good, but one of those is better than the other. But just work on making sure you get the best of all the worlds, money and happiness. That's all what we want, right?
Absolutely. And Johnny says, thanks so much, by the way. Thank you, Johnny.
Thank you. I love those moments when everybody pulls the same card. It's cool.
It can be quite interesting when that happens.
So I've recently, this past season, taught tarot at my job to some older adults. And obviously the sessions have come and gone, but they still come to me and they're like, Bryan, we want more. And I'm like, I gave you the cards and I gave you a book. Go do Go do more. When you have a question, tell the concierge to buzz me.
Okay.
We will answer questions. We also just do general readings. And you get at least 3 cards out of both of us, sometimes more. Usually more.
And Michael says, thank you both. Thank you, Michael.
Of course. Thank you, Michael. And I believe we probably have time for 1 or 2 more. And then Rev Don will close us out in a solstice prayer.
Yes.
What other projects are you working on in the new year besides your book?
Well, I'm also working on some other books.
Yeah.
And so Reverend Don's Book of Astrology will probably not be the next book out, because we have another one coming soon, but I'm not quite ready to announce it yet. But it's sitting on my desktop in about 2/3 preparation. And there are a lot of things going on across the board in terms of videos, in terms of live events here in Vermilion County, in terms of many different things.
So the question is, will I be more successful to start my own company or to work for other companies? And if starting my own, which branch would I be more successful to work in? So that's two questions.
Well, let us,
Well, let's start with the first one and see where we
yeah.
go. Okay. I believe. Huh. All right. I believe I go first, correct?
Okay. If you say so.
I don't know.
It's
Why
all
not?
good.
It's whatever. Okay. So the first card I have is the Five of Swords. Now, when it comes to jobs and companies, I'm going to say that whatever this is definitely a communications or tech, some sort of tech job. Swords being about intellect and communication. I'm going to go with something along those lines. Now, I am going to say, based on the Six of Swords, that you are probably best working for yourself and not with others, as something has not worked well for you in the past. Working with others, that has essentially made you want to run away. However, when starting your own company, the Page of Pentacles says that you also need to be your own self starter. And if that is something that you struggle with, um, maybe best to work towards what hasn't worked with you working with others before. Unless you are really dedicated to the hustle culture and think you can do it better flying solo. But my suggestion is that you should stay in the industry to which you are most comfortable and working out some of your issues with working with others or difficult personalities that hasn't worked out before. And that is where I'm comfortable going with that for right now.
So as I was shuffling, I had an escapee,
Uh-oh.
which is the Five of Coins. And the Five of Coins is a feeling of loss or sadness. So, yeah, I think I would take that to say that as you're going into this question, perhaps what's been in the past has not been exactly satisfying. Um, and part of the reason for the question is looking for a better situation in the future. For starting your own company, I've drawn the Nine of Coins. To me, the Nine of Coins says, yes, you absolutely can. You have the skill that you need to do it. The Wheel of Fortune is a gift from the universe, a little bit of luck. Both very good cards for starting your own. And then the Ten of Wands, which says, well, yes, but. It isn't necessarily the time to start your own. It's not that you can't. It's not that you don't have the necessary skill. You do. But it's not the time for it. And I also drew the Hierophant to go with that. And the Hierophant is spiritual guidance. I would say that when you are ready to start your own, you want to make sure that you're listening to your spiritual guidance, and you're also going to find you're going to learn a lot spiritually. Now, in terms of working for an existing company, first thing I got is the Hermit, and to me, the Hermit is one of those cards of capability, personal competence, the ability to work your will in the world. So I would say, actually, just from that, I would say this is the way to go. We have the Ace of Lamps, we have Past, and we have the Seven of Swords. And, either way you go, a lot of what's going to happen is going to be spiritual. For better or worse, you're in a time where you may be looking at employment and practical real world situations, but they're leading you inside to your spirituality. That's regardless of which way you go. But I would also say that if you're listening to your spiritual guidance, you will in this case go for working for another company rather than starting your own. The past says pay attention to things that have happened in the past, learn the lessons of those things. You um, can't always assume that things will go the way they went in the past, but in this case, it's a pretty good indication. So learn those lessons that are there for you, and realize you may feel a little bit like you're climbing uphill while you do this, but you can get to the top of that hill, and I think you'll be between the two. I think you'll be happier if you work for someone else's company at this time. Now, at a later point, that may be different.
And we have one final question from Anissa, and I think that will be our last one, and then we will close out in prayer. And Anissa asks, "What will I start school in the new year?" Of course, it was absolutely a pleasure. Thank you for asking us.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Oh, that's Elvish. She comes and goes. And I believe it is your turn first.
So as I was shuffling, I had two escapees. And I think actually, they actually might be enough to answer the question themselves, but I did go ahead and draw three cards. The first escapee is the soul. The soul is bringing forth, in this case, a new project, a new path, a new direction. And so since the question is, will Anissa start school? I would say yes. With it is the Seven of Cups, and the Seven of Cups is the need to know what you want. There may be many things around you that are very alluring, very interesting, but make sure you know the one you actually want and not just what is distracting you. And for the three that we intentionally drew, we have the Three of Coins, which is, again, mastery of craft, knowing what you're doing. It will be a very good thing for you. You will learn a lot. Ace of Cups, happiness. You can't do much better than that. Unless it's the Empress, which is happiness and prosperity and the nurturing of the universe. So I would say yes, you will, and yes, you'll be very happy with it. And my only caveat is to make sure that you're focusing on what you really want to focus on. And there you go.
The first card I have is the Chariot. So this is you will be victorious in going to school, for sure. The Knight of Wands, which is about passion and, continued progress. So I think you starting school is a yes. However, administratively, there are some people you might have to poke in order to continue the forward progress. Because if your process is anything like the process here, sometimes you have to annoy the administration in order to, finish the process. So if you're getting the nudge in your gut that maybe you should check in, I would check in. And the third card, as we've pulled this several times this evening between Don and myself, the Ten of Cups, which is, prosperity, happy families, good times. So, yeah, I do believe that you will start school in the new year and you will have a great time.
Yeah.
We love education.
We do.
And I believe that is it for this evening. So I will pass it to you, Don, to close us out in prayer for this solstice evening.
Well, we want to thank everyone for joining us. And we send our best to Reverend Mary, who will be back for the next program. And let us have our prayer. Divine Mother Goddess, Divine Father God, beloved ancestors, we come to you on this solstice night with thanks and love for all that you do for us in our lives. And we ask that you help us to attune ourselves to the energies of the universe. And as here in the Northern Hemisphere, the days begin to grow longer, and in the Southern Hemisphere, the days begin to grow shorter, let us too tie our actions to what is necessary for our moment. Help us to see what is best for us to do. Help us to see what is most useful for us to do. And help us to move in sync with the rhythms of the universe. Beloved Mother Goddess, beloved Father God, beloved ancestors, we thank you with great love, knowing you're always with us, but from respect, we thank you for your presence, and may you be blessed now and always. I thank you for your presence. We thank you for your presence, and have a lovely solstice. And some of us will be back next week.
We don't know who yet, but you'll find out. Good night, everyone.
Happy solstice and ambient holiday to all.